our speaker for the evening, Sheriff Chad Bianco, running for Governor of California.
Thank you all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you all. It's going to be, I don't know if I can speed talk, but they told me I had 20 minutes, which is about 40 minutes less than what I normally take. So you're not going to get everything, but I'll try and make it quick. So I'll just jump right into it. First off, I just by start, like get the tone going. I am an unapologetic, God-fearing, freedom-loving, patriotic American who absolutely values, honors, and will die protecting our Constitution.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you, obviously, you know I'm running for governor. I'm going to give you just a brief synopsis of really the last 32 years that will be basically my resume for that ballot, which will be really the only resume that you will even have a chance of looking at on that ballot, because no one else will have one. If you want anyone else on that ballot, their resume of complete failure of California politics, go ahead and look into it. But that's what they're going to have to tout. So I started with the Sheriff's Department in 1993. I'm in my 32nd year. I've been the sheriff now since November of 2018. By the time of the election, it will be 8 years as the Riverside County Sheriff. The Sheriff's Office is, we are not Los Angeles County Sheriff. There is no other Los Angeles County Sheriff in the entire world. But for California, we are number 2. We're the second largest Sheriff's Department in California. We are the 4th largest in the country. My department, I have 4,500 employees. I have 17 contract cities where I am the chief of police of a contract city. I have 16 courthouse buildings, 13 sheriff stations, 5 jails. We have roughly about 4,800 inmates on a daily basis, and I am the coroner and I am the public administrator, and my budget is just shy of $1.2 billion. So that's not your normal job. That's not your normal, and even to make it worse, I will tell you that it's government. Yeah. So it'd be nice if it was, you know, private business. Any private business owners? I envy all of you. I truly do, because there are so many employees I would like to fire, and I can't do it. But you learn to work through it, and you learn to manage it, and you learn to lead it. I became the sheriff in 2018 because I was recruited by my department to run against the sheriff that was failing. Our department was failing to where we were losing it was anywhere between 30 and 45 deputies every 2 weeks. Were leaving to go to other agencies. When I took over, we were 750 deputies short. It's been 6 years, we are now full. We are, in this budget cycle, I'm actually asking for more deputies for the first time since becoming sheriff, because we opened a jail in 2019 that sits empty because the Board of Supervisors won't fund it to open it. So I have 1,200 empty jail beds that are just sitting empty. So one thing that you may not know about Riverside County is Riverside County is blue. Riverside County has been blue for a long time. We did go red in this last election, like most other people did, most other counties. It was a fantastic movement. And I have a Board of Supervisors that is 4-1 Democrat. It is no secret, I make absolutely no secret, that I am a very conservative, fiscally conservative Republican, and they all know that I'm always right and they're wrong. It makes my county business a little bit easier. Walking into their office, they already know I'm going to be right, so they usually just give me what I want. But I got there not because I imposed myself on them, but I worked with them to make sure that they understood where I was coming from, told them how they were wrong, showed them how they were wrong, how I was right, and convinced them that they had to do the right thing, not for their own political party, not for their own agenda, but for the people that they represent. And that is how we have become successful in California. So I took over, one of the many things that my platform was in Riverside County was our budget. We were failing our residents. We were not providing the service that we were supposed to provide, and I was a lieutenant at the time, and a lieutenant in our department is basically like the acting chief of police of a contract city. So I was responsible for our largest contract city budget for 6 years. I knew that we were lying to our residents about where we were spending money, how we were spending money, the waste of government funds. And the answer was always, we need more money and we need more personnel, instead of just going out and doing our job. And in the end, the dishonesty is what I couldn't stand anymore. I couldn't stand the supposed elected person, which is supposed to be a leader, but it never is. You never know if you're going to elect a leader. You elect a person and you find out later if that person's a leader. That's our problem with California government. We just keep electing these people that truly are not leaders. Just for reference, the last leader of California that we elected was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was not elected because he was famous. I mean, arguably, he might not have been. It wasn't because he was a good actor. It wasn't because he was a celebrity. It was because of his leadership ability in the roles that he had up until that election. And he was able to bring people together from different lifestyles, different beliefs, different really freedom beliefs of communism and freedom, and bring them together for a common good. And they used that, the Republican Party used that to win the election in California. And we were better off for it. He ends up winning president and probably one of the last leaders of the free world in what he did on a world stage. So just for numbers wise, that was in 1967, the year I was born. So it's been quite a while since we actually cared enough in California to elect a leader. So going into Riverside County budget, I approached it from a complete fiscal failure position, in that we were not doing what we were supposed to do with money, and we were wasting most of it. And over the last 6 years, I made a deal with the Board of Supervisors that all of the money I saved, if you don't know how county government works, and this is every county, at the end of the year, all of the money that you didn't spend in your individual agency, I have an office, everybody else has a department, but the money that you don't spend goes back to the general fund, and they just spend it wherever they want. And it's normally wasted on things, on departments that didn't manage their budget, or pet projects that they just want to waste the money on. But the idea is the money is never saved. It is spent or lost, and they spend it somewhere else. So I made the agreement with them that we are the worst of everything. We truly were in the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. Our equipment was failing. The safety equipment was non-existent. There's maybe some older people. Any computer programmers in here? Any kids that, I'm gonna scare some kids here because they're gonna say, what? So our records management system, Riverside County Sheriff's Office, is Cobalt. So the problem with that is the last person in Riverside County that knew what Cobalt was and that could repair a Cobalt computer system died 3 years ago. That is what my deputies were supposed to go to work with. Bad safety equipment, all of that. So I made a deal with them. All of the money I save is going back to the department and back to the deputies to provide a better service to our residents. They didn't believe I could do it, so they told me okay. Over the last 6 years, I've saved over $100 million that has been reinvested back into the department, and currently, the Riverside County Sheriff is the most technologically up-to-date law enforcement agency in the country. My deputies do not want or need anything. We already have it. And that was solely because of how I approached. I rearranged how we did operations. I rearranged who did jobs. I hired cheaper labor to replace the ones that were doing it, that were working out of class. And it was solely because here's the thing, and I'm probably with all of you, I don't like paying my taxes. I don't know, is there anyone in here that likes paying your taxes? No one likes paying taxes. So the problem with me being the sheriff, and this is of any county, I am the #1 spender of taxpayer money. That's just a fact. Public safety spends the most money in county government. And so in that spot, I had to make sure that if I'm going to be the #1 spender of taxpayer money, and I hate paying my taxes, I'm going to make sure that you get the benefit. Because in the end, I probably wouldn't mind paying my taxes if I liked where it was going, or if I knew where it was going. But we are all in a point right now where it is being wasted. They have absolutely no idea where billions, possibly even hundreds of billions of dollars of California budget, they have no idea where it's going. There's no accountability, there's no transparency. Here's a little story, you got me on a sidetrack. We were in the Central Valley, my wife and I were in the Central Valley, and we're driving and we're like, hey, let's try and find this train. And so we drove for hours and we found nothing. We came across some cement pillars that were on the side that looked like you might be able to throw something on top of it and call it a railroad tracks or something. But that was it. We're like, well, maybe we saw it. And then we were running out of time, so we had to keep going. And in the end, there is no train. There never will be a train, especially with me as the governor. That will be cut immediately. So here we are today. So I became the sheriff, and unfortunately for me, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, I was thrust upon the national stage in 2020, right after being appointed because of COVID, because of the very first plane that came into our country with known people affected by COVID came to Riverside County. And they landed at March Air Force Base, and we had to quarantine them for 14 days. So I was up to date on all of that. It was daily briefings, multiple briefings from doctors, from everyone that you could imagine in government about how we were going to manage this crisis. So here's the thing, as I realized going through probably a month and a half of this emergency, it wasn't an emergency. I kept looking at it and it's like, wait a minute, this is not going to be an emergency. You're handling it all wrong. That's not how you handle an emergency. So for just a little bit of background for all of you, and this is what I'm gonna say, this goes into when you ask me, how are you going to do that? A law enforcement officer, I'm not saying we're better than everyone else. We have a different job skill and a different set of skills to handle things. From the time we start, 32 years ago when I started, my daily job is to handle emergencies. I answer a 911 call that I know nothing about. I know nothing about this emergency. I respond to it. I find as minimal people as I can. I get the minimal information that I could possibly get to solve this emergency, fix that emergency, only so I can go on to the next emergency. And that is our lives for an entire shift. Sometimes there's 10 emergencies. The most I ever handled in my career in one night was 28 calls for service. Everything is an emergency. As you promote, you just get bigger emergencies. And those emergencies affect more people. So that is my life, emergency management. Sometimes I go home and it's the kids have an emergency, or Denise is like, we have an emergency. And she tells me and I'm like, that's not an emergency. This is how we fix it, so we fix it. But at the time, they really thought it was an emergency. So when you say, this is what I'm gonna do, I'll give you the biggest thing right off the bat. I know you're going to elect me as your governor, and you're going to love me so much in the first 4 years, you're going to elect me again. So after the second term, after my second term, there will no longer be an income tax in California. You will no longer pay income tax. There are 10 other states in the country who do not have an income tax. Why is California, the greatest state in the country, why are we running our state on the backs of our citizens, on the backs of our residents, instead of taking care of them and taking care of their businesses and making sure that we thrive? We will not have an income tax. I believe that you can spend your money better than government can, and that is how the economy is made to grow faster and bigger. Government does not make the economy work. We all make the economy work. And if government has their thumb on you, preventing you from working or preventing you from growing, our economy is not going to get better. How many of here have heard in the last couple of days that we're the fourth largest economy in the world? We've been the 5th largest economy in the world since I got here in 1989. So for me as a competitive person, it's like, why are we 5? Why aren't we trying to be number 4? Why aren't we trying to be number 3? Why aren't we number 2? We can't be number one because the USA is number one. We can be number two. We have no desire. Our current government has no desire to be number four. They did nothing to get us to number four. Japan failed. Japan failed, so we, by default, went from top 5 to 4. So don't be happy about moving up to number 4. How many, any business owners in here? Business owners? You guys should be very happy with California. No? California is the most business unfriendly state in the country. We are the highest taxed, the highest regulated, and then just for reference, I hope you all know that regulations were only developed and pushed upon us because they couldn't tax us anymore. We fought back against taxes, and we made rules that it took a certain amount of the legislation to pass a tax. So they changed the rules on us and made it a regulation. So a regulation is just another way to get more money out of you. And that is what's happening in California. I don't want you to, especially if your spouse doesn't know yet, but I guarantee you, all of you, at one point or another, are thinking of leaving California. We have gotten to a point where we don't know if we can survive here anymore. It is too expensive to live here. We are the highest cost of living in the country, the highest taxes, the highest gas tax, arguably the worst education system. We're right at the bottom. At one point, we were the top. We are now right at the bottom. There truly is not much going good for us except this. We have the weather that forces us to stay here. We have family members that are in Texas, and they have humidity in Texas. We have family members who are in Alabama, and they have bugs in Alabama. We don't want to leave here. They all left and found a better life, maybe, an easier way of life, but they have things that we don't have here that we're not willing to give up yet. And so I got to the point where, as the sheriff, I was in Sacramento constantly, because I was fighting for public safety from a government that is anti-public safety. They are extremely pro-criminal, very, very pro-criminal, and they're making it so we can't protect you. And so over the last 5 years, I'm like, man, I've got to do something. I have to do something, because I'm either going to make a change or I'm going to move. And there's signs around here somewhere. This is my home. I don't want to be forced to move. I don't want someone to force me to move. I'm going to fight for it, and we're going to make it better. So I could go around the room and we can come up with 100, 200, probably 300 things that are wrong with California. Everything can be fixed. I'm telling you, our founding fathers designed our government, and there is a saying, one of them said it, and I should have looked, because I thought about saying this when I came in and I was going to look for the quote. I think it was Thomas Jefferson, said that when the government no longer works for the people, then you must replace the government. So there are kind of like, absolutely. There are kind of crazy people that take that and say, oh, revolution. We're supposed to revolt against the government. That's not what that means. They designed our government that every 2 years and every 4 years, we can replace the people that are representing us. Unfortunately, we are replacing them with each other. We just keep electing the same people over and over and over again. And that's why I decided to run, because as I'm in Sacramento, and for the last 2 years, I watched the first 6 Democrats sign their name up to run for governor. And it is the exact same people, the exact same faces and names that put us here in this position. They've been in government for the last 20 years that brought us to the position that we're in. Excessive regulation, excessive taxes, all of the things that are driving us nuts. It got mentioned earlier. Just think about really how bad it is living in California. All of the things that are making our lives miserable. And instead of addressing those, instead of fixing those, what is the headline news on every news station really, right now it's even across the country. The president made it even be across the country because he threw California's name into it. We're talking about boys competing against girls and going into their locker rooms and bathrooms. What sane adult thinks that's okay? And yet that's the conversation we're having. I will promise you this, there will only be adults at the table when I'm your governor. There will not be boys in girls' sports. I will not allow a boy to go into the same restroom as my granddaughter. Yeah. And this lunacy social agenda will stop. It will not be allowed to happen. These stupid, silly arguments will be called out for what they are. Stupid, silly arguments. And here's the thing, for all of us, we're participating. We're participating or we're standing quiet. There's a difference. If you're standing quiet, you're allowing it to happen. We need to stand up and we need to make a stance and we need to say enough is enough in everything. So now it's to that point where I was talking about the deputy and about our job and emergency and everything else. The taxes, no income tax. So when I say that, the first response is, oh, you can't do that. How is he gonna do that? It's like, well, 10 other states did it. How did they do it? It's gonna be very easy. We're gonna look to see how they did it. We're gonna take the best parts of all of them, eliminate the worst parts of all of them, and we'll make it happen here. It's not going to be difficult. He already talked about the Long Beach budget. Do you know how fast our budget has doubled? In the last 8 years, our California budget doubled. Do any of you feel like you got double the government service? So government's number one responsibility is public safety. Public safety includes police and fire. The number two is infrastructure. Does anybody have fillings left in their mouth from driving on our freeways? I tried to do a video yesterday. I do videos while I'm driving, and it's legal. I'm doing it right. My phone is attached somewhere else. If I'm driving, I'm not looking at my phone. It's okay. But I tried to do one yesterday. We were driving from Riverside. Oh yeah. Well, she changed. Originally, I was driving, and she said I was going to kill us, so we had to. We drove from Riverside to Westlake Village, and I tried the entire time, and I could not make the video because the phone wouldn't stop bouncing on the freeway. That's how rough the roads were. Unbelievable. And we pay the highest taxes in the country. And that's the infrastructure that we have. In January, we just had fires that we didn't have water to put fires out. Our farmers don't have water. They can't grow their farms. They can't water their animals. In California, we have the most water. This is a scientific fact, by the way. I'm not making this up. We have more water than any state in the country. Absolute fact. From the San Diego mountains to the northern mountains, generates more water per year than any other state in the country. We do not have a water problem. We have a management problem. And if you want to, absolutely. If you want to control the people, you control their water and you control their food. And once you control those two things, you have control of their entire lives. So the farmers, if the farmers can't grow food, we have to buy food from somewhere else. So we make other states and we make other countries richer while we suffer the consequences and pay more for it because we have to import it in. How many of you are happy with the price of gas? No. Awesome. So here's another little dirty secret. Underneath Kern County is more oil than Texas.
What?
We have more oil in Kern County than Texas does. Texas gasoline is $2.40 a gallon, and ours is over $5. We import 80% of our oil into this state, refine it into gas. So we are enriching other states and other countries, and that is why we are paying so much for gas. It's not the lie that Gavin Newsom tells us that it's price gouging and it's the gas companies and it's the owners. That's an absolute lie. It is our government that is forcing the price of gas to go up because of the regulations that they place on drilling and that they place on the oil companies and the refineries. That's why the refinery is leaving. It's because of the regulations that have driven them out of business, and that's by design.
So it's California.
We are. So here's another thing. You all can help me. Unfortunately, we all know what Doge did exposed in the federal government. But for all of those of us that loved it and think it's awesome, it's a trigger word now. You say Doge, and that's a trigger word. So we have to come up with a different name. We're still going to do the same thing, but we have to come up with something different.
Fauci.
Right? Yeah, cupcakes or something very nice that everybody can buy off on. Fauci might be a good one. So the answer, this is how I'm going to finish. No matter who comes up here that's saying that they're going to run for governor, whether it's a Republican, now we're finding even if it's a Democrat, we have a complete liberal, progressive, Democrat failure governor who now somehow miraculously is a moderate Republican.
Yeah.
And we have half of the Democrats now that are running for governor are now standing up saying that we need to lower the price of gas, we need to lower the price of energy, we need to drill our own oil. We need to let them build their houses in the Palisades. Really? They are the ones that prevented us from doing all of that. And here's our problem. We have short-term memory loss that we forget what they did and we listen to the tiny little promises of them saying, I'm going to fix it. And they have absolutely no ability to fix it. And their resume has nothing in their background to indicate any ability to lead or to fix anything. That's going to be the difference between me and them. And when you ask me how I'm going to do it, it's actually quite simple. We were shown how much power the governor has during COVID. How are churches closed? How are businesses closed? How are you forced to stay in your house? How are you forced to wear a mask? State of emergency. The governor declared a state of emergency, and with that, he has almost unlimited power. He used it for bad. I'm going to use it to build dams. Instead of suing the federal government, I will call President Trump and say, President Trump, it's my first day in office. I already signed an executive order that got rid of CEQA, that got rid of the Coastal Commission, and all of the regulations and red tape for building. Tomorrow, I need the Army Corps of Engineers to build me some dams. And they will be built within months. That's how easy it could be. You all signed you all voted and signed on and gave up your taxpayer money over a decade ago to build dams in California. Do you know what you got for it? 4 less dams. 4 less dams. That's what they've done with your money. You can look around at your friends, you can look around at your businesses, you can look around at your schools, your teachers. Nothing is failing because of the people. We have fantastic people in California. It is failing because of our government, and we need government to be replaced. And you need to replace government from the top down, number one, with a leader. On day one, an executive order can lower our gasoline taxes and fees by almost $2. On day one, first signature. Well, I don't know if it's going to be the first signature because there's going to be about 100 signatures. I'm doing exercises right now to make sure that I have the ability to sign that many times. I will not use an auto pen. There will not be an auto pen. No auto pens. I will video me signing everything. It's going to be easier than you think. It truly is. This is the difference. I have spent 32 years sacrificing myself, my family, I don't want to say wealth because I'm okay. I'm fine. But I have sacrificed for others. That has been my life, is I go to work every day knowing that I am going to sacrifice myself. It could even end up my life to make sure that somebody else's life is better. That is what makes good cops good cops. And I truly do believe, it's nothing about me, it's a God-given ability. God gave me the ability to not care about myself and care about more about other people. That is why I'm doing this. And here's a little, just in case that, why are you doing this and all that? I'm doing it because I don't want to move. I don't want my kids to move. I don't want my grandkids to move. And I don't want any of your kids and grandkids to have to move either. This is the best state in the country, and we can fix it. And truly, I don't want this to sound selfish, and I don't want this to sound, poor me or whatever it is, because I don't want you to think like that. I have the absolute most perfect job in the world. I am the sheriff of Riverside County, and as far as I'm concerned, it's the best county in California. I have the best department in California, the best employees in California. I have the best residents in California that absolutely love their law enforcement. I get along fantastic with my board, even though I don't agree with them on a bunch of things. We have a great county government. My life is nearly perfect. I have a beautiful wife, a beautiful home, kids, grandkids, everything is perfect in my life. My wife says I'm nearing retirement. I can't convince myself of that yet, but I'm getting close. And I'm going to sacrifice what I have, and this is where I don't want you thinking, poor me. It's a massive pay cut for me to stop doing my perfect job, to go be the governor for 8 years before I retire. That really messes up my retirement. I'm doing it because I do not want to leave California. This is for you, not for me, other than I am probably the most competitive person in the world, so I'm going to get a big win out of this, and it's going to feel very, very good. And even better, I will tell you this: I guarantee, there is not one person in this state that Governor Newsom hates more than me. Yes. And it's going to be very rewarding to kick him out of that office. Yes! So I will finish by this. This election is going to be interesting, and I'm going to tell you why. There are 12 Democrats currently running. And if you're a fan of Democrats, or if you follow Democrats, let's put it that way, they're high-powered Democrats. Very interesting. But the most high-powered Democrat hasn't got in yet. She's claiming that she's going to get in. The belief is that Kamala Harris is going to get in. And when she does, when she does, those other high-powered Democrats are getting out. Because this is what happens. The Democrat in California, and particularly maybe even the rest of the country, because they're all following California, their number one goal is to destroy all of us, to destroy Republicans. Republicans' number one goal is to destroy other Republicans. And historically, that's all we concentrate on in elections. Democrats rally behind one person. Republicans fight between 10, destroy everybody, and in the end, nobody's voting for them, and the Democrat walks away with it. That's why we keep losing. So we can either do the same thing again, or we can rally behind the person that can win this election. There will not be anyone else with 58 sheriffs, the highest elected official in each county in our state. I'm the only one that has them campaigning for me. They are all supporting me to be your next governor. Most of the elected officials, Republican in California, are all supporting me to be the next governor. I cannot say them yet because I will tell you this, I'm a man of my word, and I was a dope cop. And one thing about dope cops, you never give up an informant. Ever. You never burn anybody. There are Democrats that are going to come out and support me because they know that I have to be the next governor.
Amen.
We have to rally behind one person, whether you like me or not, whether you like somebody's accent better than my ability or not. We have to rally behind one person. If we don't, the Democrats are already strategizing how they're going to walk away with this. When you have, they know, they do not like Kamala Harris more than they like any of the other Democrats. It's strategy. They believe that she has a pathway to victory because she's already won 2 statewide elections in California, and in the last presidential election, she got, it was 60-40. That's their belief. My belief is a little bit different. I don't think she got 60-40. I think there were a lot of people that just refused to vote for President Trump. And so by default, that's the only other person on the ballot they could vote for. I seriously, in the law enforcement world, following the media, how the media approaches me, how other government officials are approaching me, we know that the tide is turning. The Democrats know. The Democrats even believe that a Republican is going to be the next governor.
Oh, great.
Every single Democrat is running their campaign right now, raising money. That's what the campaigns are right now. It's nothing about raising money. Every single one of them are raising money with my name on it. They're fighting me. They're raising money to fight the MAGA sheriff, right-wing MAGA oath keeper sheriff, and that's how they think they're going to raise money and rally the Democrats to fight the guy that leads public safety in this state. That's what they believe. Unfortunately, I have the other Republicans in the race that are also attacking me, paying for negative information to be put out there. The only dirty little secret for all of you to know is that, and it's not really a dirty secret, it's just it's a big honest secret in Riverside County. They got nothing on me. Absolutely nothing. I had 2 of the most ugliest campaigns in probably political history in Riverside County. When I beat an incumbent of him trying to find something about me, trying to bring up something that would put me in a negative light. It doesn't exist. It truly doesn't exist. I might be rude sometimes. I might not have a filter, and I might say things that aren't politically correct, but I've got nothing bad in my past. I've got nothing bad that's going to make me look bad. In Riverside County, all polling since 2020, when I was the first in the country to stand up and say, we are not going to abide by these stupid COVID rules. I am not going to close churches. I am not going to arrest people for not wearing a mask. I am not going to close businesses for staying open.
Good.
I was the first in the country, the leader of the country to do that. And since then, every single poll after that has me as the most popular elected official in Riverside County history. In some places in Riverside County, in some cities, one of our biggest cities, I have a 93% approval rating in a city with almost 200,000 people. The only city that I say sometimes kind of doesn't like me is Palm Springs. You could probably imagine why. But that's still 50-50. It's still 50-50. And it's because they absolutely know, the county knows, that I am working for them. I am not doing anything for myself. That's what I have to offer us. That's what I have to offer the state of California. The ability to manage crises, call out the BS when you have to call out the BS, and make sure that California government is working for us instead of us the other way around. So I appreciate you all coming out. I appreciate you paying attention in this campaign. As we move forward, we truly are going to have a lot of issues in the Republican Party with the inability to rally behind one person. There's not going to have anyone else have that ability to win. And if I thought, this is my promise to all of you, if I thought that someone else had a better chance of winning, I would stay in my perfect little job. I truly would. I believe that we have the opportunity because of all of the circumstances that we have found ourselves in. Does it matter to you if gas is $2 cheaper if you're afraid to go to the gas station? Does it matter if groceries are cheaper in the grocery store if you're afraid to let your wife go to the grocery store alone? Public safety, he already said it. Public safety affects everything. The homeless crisis that we have that really isn't a homeless crisis, it's drug-induced psychosis. Quit calling it homeless. The money laundering problems that we have, everything involves public safety and crime. Do you want to elect someone? There's numerous polls about public safety. Between 60 and 70% of every poll in the 60 to 70% range, public safety is the #1 priority. Do you want to elect someone that has 32 years of public safety expertise, or someone that read about it and is going to tell you that they'll hire somebody for it, or they'll appoint the right person? How about we just do the right thing and put that person in there? We all passed Prop 36 last year with 72% of the vote. That is a political marvel. That is not a landslide. That is a referendum to go a different direction. And that means that Democrats are saying the same thing. And some of you, well, most everybody here, I talked to some that are in Orange County, but Los Angeles County, a recent poll of Los Angeles County Democrats only. Democrats only. 48% of them are going to vote for a Republican governor. We can take advantage of this if we take advantage of this. We have 1 year to do it. It can be done, and we truly, truly, truly can bring back the California dream that I came here for and that I achieved, that unfortunately is out of reach for my kids. We can make it better here. We can make every single business in the country want to relocate their business to California. We can bring more workers into California. All it's going to take is putting the right person in place. And I hope that you believe that I am going to be that right person. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming out here tonight. And the highlight of my night was everyone singing the national anthem. I can tell you that did not happen at any Democrat rally tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very